Hello and welcome to Cubby TV. I'm Steve Cubby, your host, and on today's show, we're going to ask the question, are we at the tipping point? And to answer that question, to tell us whether we're at this point where things are finally ready to go our way, or if in fact we're back in a time warp like in the 70s when everything seemed like it was going to break loose our way, but of course it just got worse. So in today's show, we're going to talk to three distinguished gentlemen, each of whom has worked longer and harder for medical marijuana, for legalization, for defending people that are being prosecuted. These three gentlemen really are distinguished, not only in their accomplishments, but in the track record, the judgment, the perspective that they bring to us. So we're going to start out first with a good friend of mine, Bill Panzer. Bill and I worked together during the Prop 215 campaign, and he certainly played a key role in the drafting of that initiative. And Bill is going to, well, let me ask you, Bill, are we at the tipping point?
One of my favorite poets, Bob Dylan, wrote, "The times they are a-changin'." And the times they are a-changin'. I mean, we have 20 states now have legalized medical cannabis, plus the District of Columbia. That's 40% of the states. We have, just Washington and Colorado leading the pack, but there'll be at least like another 5 or 6 or 7 other states probably joining them by 2016. It's not a matter of if now, it's just a matter of when and how.
Next up, we have Dale Gieringer, Dr. Dale Gieringer, a longtime head of California NORML, someone that certainly has played a key role in virtually every aspect of drug policy reform in California. And let's see what Dale has to say.
We're at the top of this roller coaster like this and like this. We're still at the top of the roller coaster, and I felt like this since 2009 when the polls started tipping towards legalization. So we could be up here at the top of the roller coaster for another 4 or 5 years, I think. But things are changing, no doubt about it. We are at an inflection point in all of this. I'm pragmatic. I think this is a tremendous advance, and I'm really glad that it passed and the Colorado initiative passed to take the heat off of California finally. We've had too much heat out our way. I want to open a new front, and that's what this has done. And I think we're going to say we have a whole new question that we've posed to the feds now, and I'm waiting to see what they do. And after we see what the feds do to this, California's going to come back, and we're going to legalize in 2016.
Now, completing our lineup is John Conroy, QC. That means Queen's Counsel. That's a title that you earn by arguing a case before the Supreme Court of Canada. And in this case, John Conroy, who's been the head of Canada NORML, I think, since, 1977? John Conroy has repeatedly gone to the mat with the Supreme Court to try to wrestle from them a recognition of our basic human rights and the medical rights. But as John put it, that court, that Canadian Supreme Court, keeps moving the goalpost. So let's hear from distinguished Canadian attorney John Conroy, QC. John, are we at a tipping point?
My speeches now in Canada are very much a reference to Washington State and Colorado and how the USA is moving in this direction. You've got 20 states that have legalized medical marijuana. And so that gives some solace or encouragement that there's a momentum and that Canada, if Trudeau gets in and goes ahead with legalization, then we'll have a country just to your north that has legalized. They've put a lot of thought into how they're going to do it. I know that's still going on here to try and come up with the right model here in Washington State, and it's slightly different in Colorado, so there's various different ways and means of doing it. But we're heading in the right direction. And when we have licensed producers in Canada who can grow all the different strains, import, export, while it's currently going to be for medical purposes, it's a step in the direction for legalization. Once legalization occurs, these licensed producers presumably will be able to expand their markets to the general market and not just be limited to medical. But I see the medical is still a specialty with development of strains in relation to different ailments, and it's going to be a whole special area that'll be quite different from the recreational market or the major consumer market.
All right, my friends, thank you so much for dropping by and visiting with us, and thanks to my special guest, Bill Panzer, Dale Gieringer, and John Conroy. This is Steve Cubby asking you to join us again tomorrow, same time, same place, and wishing you a very special 420 day.
It's the proximity of what I hope to be, the weight so heavy where I stand. The indecision builds within my twisted sense of self.